Hi, I'm Sarita Fontanesi, Black Constituency Organizer here at the Texas Democratic Party.
Hey y'all, my name is Nate Levin. I am Training Director here at the Texas Democratic Party.
Welcome to Looping You In, our weekly news roundup show where we review the news of the week here in the biggest battleground state in the country.
But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Texas Beer Company, a member of the Texas Craft Brewers Guild.
We're going to kick things off with our segment Battleground Bulletin, where we overview the incredible work of Democrats all across the state.
This week, it was announced that Ford Majority is spending $15 million on Democratic campaigns in targeted state house races across the country, with the largest percentage of those funds being spent on Texas state house races.
In July, the group announced it had managed to raise more than $1.3 million, which far exceeded the amount of money the group raised in 2018 when it helped flip 12 Texas House seats from Republican to Democrat.
This is incredibly exciting, I think. I think we all know how much is at stake to flip the state house this year and the great opportunity we have. Could not be more excited to see continued investment every single day up through November 3rd, because we will flip the state house this year. This week, the Texas Democratic Party called on Republicans Greg Abbott, John Cornyn, and Republicans across Texas to sign the Texas First Pledge.
More than 195,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus, including nearly 14,000 Texans. Another 6.5 million Americans have contracted COVID-19. Right now, it is estimated that 18 million Americans are unemployed, including 3.4 million Texans who have filed for unemployment since March. Among other things, the pledge calls for our leaders to defend the millions of Texans with pre-existing conditions and condemn the lawsuit that would rip healthcare away during a pandemic.
It also calls for our elected officials to defend our public health by following the recommendations of medical experts and scientists when it comes to responding to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Which brings us to how we're going to deliver Texans the representation they deserve.
This week, Texas Democrats kicked off our Disability Week of Action to mobilize voters with disabilities to turn Texas blue.
Also this week, our wonderful People with Disabilities constituency organizer, Alejandrina Guzman, kicked off the week of action with a town hall Thursday focused on the power of the disability vote.
If you'd like to get involved in our week of action, please visit the Mobilize link in the caption of this video. This work is so important and is the work that is going to flip Texas blue this year. I encourage everybody to take that step to get involved and make a difference. We have 50 odd days, y'all, for the next generation of Texans, and now is the time to get involved, to take that next step and really make a difference. Now we're going to jump right into our segment, Real News.
In a bombshell report this week, the American people were made privy to the fact that Donald Trump has been lying about coronavirus since the pandemic reached our shores.
In interviews with Bob Woodward, he knew we're being recorded. The president literally admitted to lying about the severity of COVID-19, costing us many American lives.
Right, and I think the frustrating thing is a lot of us knew he was probably lying, but now to have it confirmed and in our faces is even more upsetting.
Without a doubt, the devastation that we've experienced here in Texas and nationally falls at the hands of Republican leadership here in Texas and all the way up to the presidency with Donald Trump.
Well, and Cornyn made his statement on the reporting. He decided to attack MJ Hager, a decorated combat pilot, instead of standing up for Texas veterans.
This week, the Texas Democratic Party hosted an event with Texas veteran women to discuss Trump's disparaging comments on veterans. We heard from our U.S. Senate nominee, MJ Hager, State House candidate Elizabeth Beck, and a powerful account from Gold Star mother, Hilda Guardiola.
If you weren't able to tune into the press conference, don't worry. You still can find the video on our Facebook at txdem.co/live.
Just want to shout out MJ. She just does such an amazing job every time I hear her speak. She joined us last week for our voter registration week of action, in which we contacted, I believe it was 1.3 million Texans across the state to ensure that folks are registered before the upcoming October 5th deadline. And MJ joined us to talk about the work that she's doing, her campaign is doing across the entire state, and just feel so fortunate that that's a leader that we have here in Texas and someone that I know we'll all benefit from having in the United States Senate. Harris County Precinct Constable Alan Rosen's office raised more than $234,000 on GoFundMe to help renters faced with eviction notices during the pandemic after a viral CNN story about evictions resuming in Houston. Texans step up to take care of our neighbors.
Yeah, I think what's great is even though our state level leadership has let us down, our local Democratic leaders are really stepping up to make sure that all of our community members are taken care of. And of course, this is only happening because of the Republican Texas Supreme Court. They lifted the moratorium on evictions after only 2 months, despite the fact that we're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic. And finally, we're rounding out the day with our segment, Fact Not Fiction, because in Trump's America, you never really know what the truth is.
Abbott continues to roll back health and safety measures as White House health experts tell him to slow down.
I think Governor Abbott needs to be reminded that we are, in fact, still in a pandemic.
Without a doubt, the best way forward for us is to listen to the health experts and medical officials, to lean into the science that will get us out of this, that will allow us to restore our economy and get us back to the prosperity that we know is possible here in Texas. I truly don't have much faith in our Republican leadership to get there. And that's about reason 1 million why I'm going to be voting for Democrats up and down the ballot. Polls open October 13th. I'm going to be getting out there once they're open. Going to be looking up my polling place, mytexasvotes.com, making sure I'm registered to vote before the October 5th deadline. I'm going to use registertexas.com to do that. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to double check that I'm registered, making sure I'm good to go at my current address, because there's no time to lose this year. We all got to get out there. I can't wait, but we got a lot of work ahead of us until then. So make sure you're a part of the movement that is going to turn Texas blue this year.
Absolutely. This pandemic has illuminated a lot of things, most importantly that it is time for us to take back our state and our country and make sure that all of our community members are taken care of.
That's it from looping you in for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
That's all we got, Sarita. I'm going to go hit a phone bank. I got to get out of here.